Hello everyone, welcome back. I hope we are well. Today, we're going to have a chat. We're going to have another chat. We're going to be talking about ways of thinking that I have changed. Things that I've changed my thoughts on. Troubling things, or perhaps potentially problematic, that I no longer think or feel, or I've changed my perspective on it. This has come from growing up, growth, same thing, bit of therapy, bit of experience, bit of life experience, and also genuinely learning the art of not giving a fuck. I feel like my big thing on YouTube was like, oh, Helen, she don't care. She does what she wants. She's just so like, whoa, wild. To some extent, that's true. But I do actually feel like I cared more than I let on. Even to myself, you know. I was in denial. But now, you know, I know that I genuinely don't care as much as I used to about certain things. I think you have moments in your day-to-day where you realise, I've grown. This is growth. This is a different way of reacting, or a different way of thinking that I didn't previously, that I wasn't able to do before. I love this self-development thing, obviously not just for me, but just for everybody, and love seeing people thrive and blossom and taking life in their stride. So yeah, thought I'd talk to you about a few different things that I've changed my perspective on, or view on, and it'll be really cool to also get your feedback, and also if there's anything that you've also changed your perspective or mind on, put it in the comments. Let's have a convo. So the first one is something that I've only actually, like, in the last year kind of got over, and that is needing a purpose. I do think that, especially in the field of work that I do, and I still say work in like a work, oh, this is my job. This is my job. Doesn't feel like a job. Or that's not a real job, Helen. There's still that. I still feel like there's that stigma around it sometimes. Probably not, but there can be. But I think that when you do a job like social media, and your job essentially is, if I was to just explain it to people, like face value what it was. I know there's so much more that goes into it than this. But it's like, oh, I put videos of myself on the internet wearing clothes or talking shit, or like talking about certain topics. Or I just film my everyday life. I film myself hoovering, put it on the internet. And when I say it so plainly like that, it feels like, wow, great. You're really adding something to this planet. You're really benefiting the world. I guess for quite some time also like being, I guess, an online person that doesn't necessarily have a niche. Like, I am the niche, I am the character. Like, I don't have like a particular subject. Like, I don't do like just solely do skincare, or I don't have like a particular skill. I'm not like the folding lady that can show you how to fold like 1,000 different things. I just exist on the internet. And I had this big complex for a while about needing to feel like I had a purpose and like a place on the internet, as that were. But two things changed. I realised that, well, first thing was I have made a living out of doing what I specifically do on the internet. Like, I have been able to create a career. I have a house. I have like this studio now. Like, I built my online shop. I've done a load of stuff, and I'm still getting in work, and I'm still getting to do all these amazing opportunities just from existing and doing what I do. And also I've created this incredible community and following of people, which is still like mad to this day, just doing what I do. So being Helen Anderson is just enough, I suppose, and entertaining, and just being a person for people to follow. And, you know, this isn't me just toot my own hoot here, or brag, or whatever that is, or sound like I'm trying to justify anything that I'm doing. It is just the actual facts of the situation. And also, like, bigger scale, I was just thinking, why do we as people need a purpose? Like, who invented that? Like, society was an invention made by a man. We were actually on this planet just to eat, sleep, and fuck, and, like, you know, survive. And basic human 101 is just to live on this planet, because we are animals, I suppose. And then obviously the evolution of humans and the growth of our knowledge, and then creating society and civilizations, like we have just created this need to have purpose. And, you know, like religion plays a big part in that, and culture plays a big part in that. But essentially that is still something that we have constructed and invented. And if you look at it, quite literally, we are just tiny little dots walking around this tiny planet in this fucking massive universe. And no matter what you choose to believe, that is still the case. And so when you think of the larger scale, not having a purpose doesn't actually matter. And I think we do put so much pressure on ourselves to feel like we have a reason to exist, and like we need some sort of purpose, whether that's a career, or if it's like supporting someone, or being a lover, or, you know, being an artist or a creative. We feel like we have to have a reason for being here. I don't know. I think, why can't we just enjoy being here? Why can't we just enjoy living and enjoy the world? And why can't we just go frolic around and try different things and not necessarily have a path in mind, and just, you know, meander through life and just enjoy it? Why do we need to have a purpose and a clear vision of what we are bringing to life? Why can't we just exist and just see how it goes? You know, I do often see it in like my industry, and I see other creators posting at sometimes when they're having a bit of a low moment of, you know, struggling to feel their purpose, or, you know, what they're about. Just be kinder to yourself and just enjoy life and this wonderful creative industry that you get to be a part of. And it doesn't matter what it is that you're doing, as long as you're enjoying it. That's all that really matters. And as long as like people are resonating with that, then that's all that really matters. You know, I don't think about it anymore. I haven't had a negative thought regarding my place on the internet, let alone the world, in a very long time, because I'm just rolling with it. I'm doing my own thing, and it's great fun. Kind of leads me on to my next point, which is working 9 to 5 / a conventional ways of working. So I used to feel the work guilt so much if I wasn't productive 9 till 5, or like able to stick to a routine, or filling up my days with work and things to do. I'd feel like this real guilt, because I know that a lot of people do work 9 to 5 and work really fucking hard, and you know, I worked right down to the bone in particular jobs. And sometimes I'd feel this guilt for if I like took a Wednesday off, or if I worked only 4 hours one day, and I'd feel almost like, again, like a worthless piece of shit. What am I doing? You're lazy. Who are you? You don't deserve all the things that you have. You're awful. Like all these horrible like things that would go through my head. And now I have accepted that I'm in a creative industry. I'm self-employed. 9 to 5, again, was an invention and a capitalist view of working. And it's not for everybody. Working 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. And I definitely know it's not for me. Neither is routine. See, I see all these ADHD memes, and sometimes I feel like I could do 8 hours work in like 4 hours or 2 hours, you know. Now I just tell myself, as long as you've got everything that you need done by the end of the week, it doesn't matter how you fucking get there, just as long as it's done. So if I have a slow morning at home and then I have a really crazy afternoon working, but my work's done, that's all good. If I take Wednesday off, which I do, Wellness Wednesdays, but work hard Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and all the work is done, that's all good. If I decide not to work one day and decide to work that night, or I want to work on a Saturday or a Sunday, I will do that. A lot of people have made comments or judgment about, oh, it's all right for some, isn't it? Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, you don't know what it's like to work a full day in your life. You don't even have a real job. There are people working way harder than you do. Do you know what? Maybe there are people that work harder than me. And no, I'm fucking certain there are people that work harder than me. Oh, I work hard, but I work hard in my own way. and I'm determined and I'm productive. And I also made a choice to do this, just like everyone else has made a choice in terms of what they do for work. And I am allowed to figure out ways to work for me because I can, like anybody else can. And I actually do think that workplaces need to be more flexible, especially with people with neurodivergency or that struggle with conventional kind of working routines and patterns. So that guilt's gone. That guilt is gone. The next point, being single is a sign of failure and is a bad thing. I was really bad at being alone for a long time. And I don't think I necessarily needed a partner. I would often get remarks about not being able to be on my own, and that I go from man to man or relationship to relationship and I can't be on my own. And I don't even think it was a case of that I couldn't be on my own. I think I just didn't want to be. And I do think that this is definitely one of those things that I don't want to be told that. I need to come to the realization of it myself. And I think that because there were times where my self-esteem was quite low, I would get comfort in knowing that I had a person there to feel like I was being cared for, or could not complete me, but just make me feel loved, because I found it difficult to do that by myself or feel enough by myself. And so I did find it difficult to be on my own, or didn't want to be on my own, because I didn't like the feeling of being on my own and being alone. And I thought that being single or on your own was somewhat of a failure, which is so daft because I didn't think about it about anybody else. It was my opinion of myself, which is mad because it's like I'd never think that about anybody other than me. And I did find it difficult to be single. And even though I would say for so long, like, now I'm all right being on my own, I don't want a partner, etc., I was always still in the back of my mind thinking, when I get a boyfriend, or looking, being on dating apps, or looking and trying to figure out, or just thinking about finding another partner, or, someone else, thinking about the future. This last year, or this last 6 months or 7 months of being single, I have been on dates and I have been on dating apps. It's the first time ever I think that I don't want a boyfriend. I don't want a partner. I actually genuinely don't want a partner. I'm really enjoying my me time and my not having to consider or compromise time, and just enjoying the time that I have with myself. And also changing the idea of what is being on your own and what is being lonely. So when it comes to weekend plans, if I didn't have anybody to do a weekend plan with, I'd be like, oh, this is suck. Life's shit. I've got no one to hang out with. And then I thought, I know who I can hang out with. Myself. Why don't I just go and do the thing that I wanted to do, but on my own, and have a great time? So whether that's going to the garden centre, or going to the beach, or having a picnic, or just doing something really fucking wholesome and nice, just doing it with myself and with my dogs, and taking it all in and living in the moment, doing these things for myself. I think there's quite an emphasis on, having a partner and, doing all these things together, and being on your own or doing things on your own is weird, and I don't know. Whereas I actually think it's so fucking special and empowering to be cool with being on your own and having a great time by yourself. Because, we were put on this planet, unless you were a twin or something, but you know what I mean, on our own. Why do we need a partner? We don't need anyone. I mean, unless you actually need someone because you find that you can't look after yourself, and you genuinely need someone for care purposes. But you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I think that living on your own and being on your own and spending time on your own, and especially after a breakup, it does feel like the worst thing. You're doomed. You're doomed, man. Oh, I can't bear with being alone. Oh my God, no one wants me. So you can fall in love with yourself, and you can fall in love with spending time with yourself, and it can absolutely 100% happen, and you can live a really great stress-free life, and it can be great. I think that's a really big one for me this year, actually. Just clicking. I'm actually all gravy, baby. The next one is exercising and demonizing food. So my relationship with exercise and food over the years has been quite tumultuous, confusing at times. And I don't want to say I suffered with anything. I just think I had a problematic relationship with it. I don't want to go that far, because I don't believe that was the case. I do believe, however, I just had a problematic relationship with it. Confusing. I think it was also kind of a little bit down to identity as well. So came to the exercise realization the other day when I went to a boot camp on a Saturday, and I boot camp Monday to Friday, pretty much every day. But I think this particular week I wasn't able to do it every single day, and so I was kind of one down that I normally am. And it doesn't matter; it's not the end of the world. Like, I can cope with that. It's not. It's not awful. But I woke up on a Saturday. I woke up at like 6 o'clock because it was my body clock. And I'd gone downstairs. I'd made a coffee. I was watching TV and I was getting a bit bored. And I looked at the clock and I went, I could actually what do I want to do? And I actually really want to go do some exercise. I would actually really fancy a boot camp session. And then after that, we could go to Bread Sauce and get a coffee and a pastry. Yes, I can do that. So I went up and I did it. The reason why I'm saying this is because there was a time where I would be like, oh, it's Saturday, there's strictly no exercise. Exercises for weekends aren't for exercising. And likewise, like, I would take the piss out of people that would use the gym on holiday. I'd be like, why are they doing that? They're on holiday, what a loser. And when you talk about exercise in that way, in that kind of negative connotation, in that negative way, you are somewhat demonizing it like it is something to not be enjoyed, and that it is something that you wouldn't do when you are relaxing, or that you're supposed to be having time off. It's a chore, that it's something that you do when you have to, and that it's a routine thing, and not something that can be actually enjoyed and make you feel excited. And I think this year in particular, because of like my weight loss and my kind of new lease for life, I suppose, I've really developed this like love for it. And especially now that I'm doing boxing and kickboxing and boot camping and personal training, like, I'm really loading it in now because I'm really enjoying it, and the feeling that I get, the endorphins that I get, how it makes me feel afterwards, how I feel so productive, and how I feel so alive and full of energy. It feels so good. And for me, actually, it is, because it is something I enjoy. I will do it on a weekend because I actually want to. And I no longer see exercise as something that's like, lame, why are you doing that? But equally, it's not something that's punishable just because you've eaten something that's sort of like a non-everyday food, or a like bad food. I mean, we don't talk about food like that because no food is bad, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't go to the boot camp because I wanted to have pastries and coffee. I wanted to do both because I wanted to do both. I didn't link them together. It was like, I want to go to boot camp and then I want to go have a pastry, if you know what I mean. Whereas previously it might be, I want to eat a muffin later, so I'm going to go on a run. It's not the way that it works. And just generally speaking about food, demonizing food, I just don't do that anymore. I have a clear understanding of the foods that I know I should be eating every day, and the foods that I won't eat every day, but I look forward to eating when I do eat it. But then equally, if there's something that I really want, I'll get out of my head, I'll go eat it. Simple. That pastry was playing on my mind all fucking week, and I went, Joe, I'm going to go get it. I'm going to go get it because I really want it. So I went and got it. And had a great time eating it. I think that's quite an important one for me, to be honest. Falling in love with exercise and really enjoying it and making it part of my life rather than something that I have to do. The next one is needing to be okay all the time. I think that we as people, we have to fix ourselves, don't we? Like, we always just need to be okay. If we're stressed or sad or down, we need to try and find out what the problem is and fix it and be okay. Whether that is to make other people feel more comfortable, that it's really trendy for the self-care thing, bath bombs, all that, looking after you. I mean, I don't disagree with it, but I do think that we don't give us time to feel and process when we are feeling sad, or when things are bad, or when you're heartbroken. You just want things to be over. You just want that pain and that sadness or that uncomfortableness to be over. And so you'll do anything to get past it. Distractions, go having some drinks or something, or doing something that maybe you shouldn't, I don't know. Or, trying to figure out like why you might be stressed immediately after when you first feel it. You know, if I'm explaining myself really well, but I don't think we sit with our feelings enough, and I don't think we allow the uncomfortableness in us enough. I think sometimes we just want to be okay and we need to prove to be okay. And I know it's a very cliche thing to say, but it is okay to not be okay. And that is so true. And I think that we are afraid of being sad, or we are afraid of being heartbroken, and we are afraid of being all these different negative emotions, but we learn from them and we have to process them. We have to allow them to do their thing, and we have to allow them to run their course. Otherwise, if you stop something too early in its tracks, it's just going to come out another time. If you don't process it and think about these things, you got to allow these emotions to do their thing. And I think that was one thing that I've learned is I don't have to put on a brave face. I don't have to be all right. I don't have to try and fix my problems as soon as they arise. I don't have to feel comfortable and okay and happy. I can be sad. I can feel the effects of my hormones. I can feel the effects of my ADHD. I can feel the effects of life's challenges. Just let them run their course. And I don't have to try and fix everything with some sort of self-help thing, you know, all the time. The last one is the opinions of others do not matter. I know that this is very obvious. I think for me on a personal level, I have felt this particularly over the years of being an influencer. But I really feel it now. Like I used to really care about how people perceived me and their opinions of me, and I used to really care about being a disappointment or upsetting someone or someone not agreeing with something that I've done. Like, I'd take that really personally. I found other people's opinions of me hard and difficult to sometimes process. But I'm at this point where I'm just like, why do I care that much about a stranger's opinion of me or what they think? And also, an opinion is an opinion. It's not a fact. And I think that's what people forget a lot of the time, is that if they have a differing viewpoint or opinion on a particular subject matter, if you disagree with them, often it can create an argument or confrontation, or they'll try and tell you that you're wrong. A lot of the time on the internet, people do forget that opinions don't always need to be shared, but B, opinions are opinions. And I get it all the time with people, like videos or, you know, Instagram posts, like not agreeing with things that I've done or the ways I've done stuff, or pointing out things to me. Sometimes people are just trying to be helpful, but other times people are just, because it's not done the way that they do it or they disagree, they want to point it out to me. And I'm like, I don't care. I don't care that I'm not doing it the way that you want me to, or not the way that you would have. This is the way I do it. It doesn't make me a bad person. It just means that we're different. And I think that that's also a key point, is that we're not bad people. I'm not a bad person. It's just because someone has a different view, it doesn't make them, I mean, unless it's like actually offensive and hateful and whatever, but just because someone has a different viewpoint or stance than you, don't mean that they're bad. And especially with like the internet and stuff that I've learned over the last couple of years, is you can't please everybody, and it's totally okay if you wind someone up or you piss them off, I think, just because they're not aligned with your ways of thinking or doing things. That just ain't then it just ain't your kind of person. You can't be worrying all the time about filtering the way that you are or washing down a version of yourself just out of fear of someone not liking you or what you're about. You've only got one time on this planet, really. Why spend it living in a filter of people's expectations of you? It's just so exhausting and unsustainable and confusing, and you lose yourself in that. You lose yourself in these worries. Mad. That is that, everybody. Like I said, put down your thoughts and the things that you've changed about yourself, thought patterns, down below, and I'll read them. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you soon. Goodbye.